My name is Blythe Kazmierczak, and I've introduced myself to a few folks tonight. Chris Schmelzer, if you just mind standing up. He and I kind of decided to start this adventure in West Michigan, and we've been assembling a set of folks to help us get a conversation started in our community about technology and how we, in the HR and business space, adapt to it. And so Hacking HR, I'm going to talk a little bit on the front end about what Hacking HR is and go over the agenda and make sure you guys all feel oriented. And then we really have a great lineup of folks to share insights with you tonight. So the topic today is emotional intelligence, and we really picked this topic even though the center of this is about technology change, because the reality is as humans, it's really our edge over robots is our emotions, right? And our ability to think creatively and have intuition and empathy. And so as we really think about the disruption that we're all either living in or preparing for or adjusting to, our emotions and our ability to build that emotional intelligence in our leadership teams, in our management teams, in our employees is what's going to allow us to navigate this disruption. So first I just wanted to talk a little bit about what Hacking HR is, and I know I've gotten that question already from a few folks I was able to interact with tonight, and while it's new to all of us, it's not new. It's really came out of a specific person who was frustrated with the conversation not being more about preparing for disruption in some of the professional development that he was attending. His name is Enrique Rubio. He originally was in DC, and then he actually got in a car and drove across the country and visited lots of chapters and ended up in Los Angeles, and along the way kind of built a movement around having this conversation. It was really actually a really cool thing to watch on social media. And the conversation that he got going, for those of you who are not familiar with it, was really about future of work and what it means, how to start to understand it, and then how do we all get prepared. And so the future of work is coming, and I think there is this question that I know I ask myself, especially as I look at my kids and think, they're like, what should I be when I grow up, Mom? And I'm like, well, that's a tough question. I don't even know what jobs are gonna exist. And I think we're all kind of in some frame of that conversation. What do I need to be thinking about? What do I need to be preparing for? What's coming? And one of the premises around Hacking HR is that those of us in the HR community can be the change agents. So if you think about imagine, most organizations that have a lot of people today, at some point, they're gonna have a CIO or CTO that manages all robots, and they'll have a chief people officer that manages the support for the people. And that's kind of, for those of us who are not in organizations where there's a lot of robots sitting next to us, that's kind of hard to imagine, but that is what the workforce looks like, and the pace of this change is happening at such a rate where we have to get our heads around that and think about how, on the HR side, do we really help leaders prepare for that change and employees not be scared by it, but more understand what's happening and prepare. So it's really about this intersection of technology, future of work, people, and organizations. And that's kind of the space that we're going to sit in. So emotional intelligence felt like a logical topic, but we have others that are a little bit more tech heavy as we go through the plan for the year. So here, there's 60,000 people that are part of this movement globally. 85 cities, 2,000 events have happened in the last two and a half years. So this is kind of a growing conversation. They've started a professional development program for folks that are emerging chief people officers. But essentially it's bringing speakers to get the conversation and the dialogue going. And the mission is really to create the best HR that's ever existed. So the HR we're experiencing today, whether we're an entrepreneur providing software or service to that community, we're in the community, or we're independent consulting helping folks in those organizations, there's just lots of opportunity for us to get better, right? And that's really the focus. So So it's professional development oriented, and it really is a mix. It was, I tried to, recruit people for this event. Many of you that got kind of one of those weird messages, that was my fault. I was trying to find folks in our community that might be interested in this topic, and it was really a combination of entrepreneurs who are either have a technology where they're trying to figure out how to help organizations or HR people, HR folks that are practitioners that might be dealing with these issues, consultants, business leaders. So it's really intended to be a mix of those folks, because if we stay in our silos, we're not going to have the right perspective to have the right conversation. So it really is intended to be a mix. It's always intended to be free events. We have a small sponsorship fee we ask speakers to provide to pay for the food. Schuler's was kind enough to offer this venue at no cost, so we're looking for opportunities like that for these events so that we really can make it free, and anybody who wants to work on their development can attend and be part of the conversation. And we really have no guidance around what we can cover and not cover. We have a small group that's been trying to get the calendar of events oriented for this year, but we're always interested in new ideas. So if any of you have thoughts about something we really should be talking about in one of these conversations, please email me, stop by and talk to Chris or myself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So here are the 4 events we have planned for the year. We had a kind of a crowdsourcing discussion in December where we got ideas on the board, a bunch of sticky notes, and landed at these topics. Here we are, like mall map, little finger, we're here doing emotional intelligence. And then we have HR Tech Stack as a topic in April. We have diversity, inclusion, and potentially some wellness topics are going to be in the June meetup, and then we're going to focus on employee experience in the last event in September, and then we'll kind of figure out how we reboot for next year. So that's basically the agenda for the year, is to offer these opportunities and to invite people to, and if anybody has, like literally somebody sprang to your mind in terms of this would be a great speaker for one of these events, or I really have a passion about something, please share it with us. We're trying to assemble those things now and would love your input. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chris, and he's going to talk a little bit about future work trends.